There is one field underlying all that is, both material and immaterial, the immaterial being the source of all things material. This ultimate and fundamental field is conscious, intelligent, and willful. Over time, mankind has referred to it in numerous ways: ether, Brahman, Dharma, Asha, God, the Logos, the Tao, Great Spirit, consciousness, the vacuum. The founders of the ancient peace traditions referred to this field varyingly but consistently as the All-Father, the One Law, the Source, formless, but from which all forms are derived, the mind of God. There are no separate entities within this field. All things are inextricably entangled. What appear to us to be separations in nature are but illusions which our senses have evolved to discern through the course of our evolution, helping us to survive. What we are sensing are characteristics of the field, patterns in our surroundings which present the threat of harm or the appearance of safety. What we are sensing are simply fluctuations within the field itself, some of which have agency and can thwart or assist us in our travails. What we fail to realize is that we, too, are no more than fluctuations of this field, material manifestations of intentionality which the Source causes to form, binding us by way of love, what physicists call the strong force. It is this force, imbuing the field, which binds us together, both as seemingly individual beings, and to others with whom we share similar resonance in varying degrees. We humans, having developed the capacity for higher thought, self-reflection, and deviation from the natural order, have also developed another unique characteristic, which exists only within our minds, but which shapes our thoughts and actions in ways that do a great deal of harm to the world around us, and that creates a paradigm of delusion. That unique characteristic within nature is arrogance. Because we are self-aware, we have developed a sense of superiority to nature. We feel we are above it and separate from it. Our arrogance has blinded us to our place within the natural world, to the damage we are capable of doing to it, and the health and vitality which we gain from it. We evolved over thousands of years within the lithosphere, atmosphere, and biosphere. The moment we were able to remove ourselves from this scenario, we did. Walls, floors, roofs, and doors, shoes, vehicles, clothing, and conditioned air, chemical-laden processed food and drink, packing, shipping, storing, freezing, and cooking the nutrients out of our foods, spending more and more time indoors, rarely communing with the forces of nature, sun, air, water, earth. We have even taken this arrogance to the grave, embalming and other post-mortem processes intended to keep our cells from natural decay, from rejoining the earth from which it came. We have systematically separated ourselves from the natural world, Mother Earth, for hundreds of years. The mother who formed us and who sustains us, who feeds and nourishes us, who fills our very cells with vitality and life. This is arrogance. It is short-sighted. And it is our demise. These are the material consequences of our blindness, our smugness, our contempt for nature. The arrogance we experience as a species extends yet further. We observe the great recycling of nature around us. The continental drift and subduction which continuously generates new land, mountain ranges, and rifts. The seasonal changes which cycle and recycle. The breakdown of discarded waste by natural processes, reconstituting its constituents over time. The living force, manifested through millions of species, recycling itself through the process of consumption and secretion, what we call the food chain. The work of bacteria and other microorganisms which break down substances at the molecular level, keeping our bodies and the biosphere functioning and healthy. The great recycling occurs at all levels of existence, both materially and immaterially. Everything is part of this great recycling. We see this and we accept it. We use it to our advantage as we can, and we resist it to the best of our ability when it works to our disadvantage. Everything, that is, except ourselves, our own existence as beings. Our self-awareness has created a sense of deification in our collective psyche. We see ourselves as gods, separate from nature, above it and superior to it. We see the natural order as something to tolerate and distance ourselves from. Some may object to this assertion, but the proof is in the pudding, as they say. As a species, as a culture, what is considered the sublime accomplishment? What distinguishes the well-off from the destitute? Clothes, cars, cash, and homes. The closer and more exposed one is to the earth and the natural forces, the less tends to be thought of them. The more basic they seem. Symbols of success, in our perception, are things which allow one to be comfortable and coddled, protected and separated from nature, not the alternative of one's being exposed, vulnerable, and subject to the forces of nature. This mentality is so accepted that we do not tend to see it. We do not recognize it within ourselves as something errant in our thinking, because the alternative is so far removed from our sensibilities. It is a hidden and obscured truth, which we lost as a species along the path of our evolution. With this sense of separation, this air of arrogance which we have cultivated, we have lost our sense of place in the universe, our role in the natural order. We see ourselves as distinct from the natural world. A byproduct of this delusion is the feeling that we must then also be outside of the process of cosmic recycling. We may realize that our physical constituents recycle, as this is apparent through observable natural processes. We are not able to refute this part of ourselves. However, our spirit or soul, which is not evidenced in empirical systems, we consider to be a one and done, that it did not exist before we incarnated, and that it does not continue within the great recycling once it leaves our body. This is the seat of our arrogance. This is where we have deified the concept of ourself, raising ourselves to the level of gods. We are immortal. We ourselves are separate to and above nature and natural law. This is the delusion of our evolved state. We have evolved the capacity to feel we are beyond and outside of the system which formed us, which generates our consciousness, life, and thoughts. As we stated at the outset, there is only one fundamental entity in the cosmos. It is the mind of God, and within this mind all things have their existence, being consubstantial with the source. They are birthed from its womb, they live within its energies and forces, and they return from whence they came upon their successful completion. This cycle, what we are referring to here as the Great Recycling, is total. No thing, material or immaterial, is immune from it, nor are they an exception to it. This includes our body, but also our spirit. Spirit cannot be separate from the Great Spirit. It is consubstantial with it and derives its vitality from it. The spirit we experience is gifted to us for a time, as is our body and by extension our thoughts and feelings. We are granted agency for a time. Then our constituents, material and immaterial, are recycled to continue the great experience. This experience being the will of the source. We act as receptors, as sensors, as input devices for the source, so that it can better know itself. How genius it is that the source, which is singular, literally the singularity, devised a way to commune with itself, to experience itself, to generate a mechanism for personal evolution. In this we are privileged to share, privileged to be co-creators with the source for a time, privileged to commune with the source and to experience the opportunity to contribute toward the evolution of the cosmos via our own personal evolution. Through cycles upon cycles, seeking ever to increase ourselves toward communion with the All-Father, toward perfection as He is perfect, toward the sublime ecstasy of oneness with the Source. This path, the path of peace, is the purpose of our existence. Our mortal form, typically, has no memory of our past experiences, yet another brilliant device of the Source to wipe the slate clean and start over, using the same consciousness again and again from different perspectives. Perhaps male, perhaps female, at times privileged, other times destitute, intelligent or dim-witted, beautiful or ordinary, strong or frail. We have all experienced these polar scenarios and the spectrums within. If we recalled these experiences, we would certainly be more patient, caring, understanding, and loving. But this would undermine the process of personal evolution, and by extension that of the cosmos. It is this process of learning over lifetimes who we truly are, what our role is within the natural order, and how we contribute to cosmic evolution which facilitates our own personal evolution. As we figure it out along the way, our spirit, or soul, if you will, increases in its degree of purity and ascension to higher consciousness. It is this part of us which continues with us into the great recycling. Not our bodies, emotions, minds, associations and affiliations, genetic identities, wealth or possessions. It is our personal evolution which stays with us, until finally attaining ultimate purity and perfection. This takes lifetimes and cannot be achieved in a handful of laps around the sun. To know who we truly are and our place in the natural order, we must see through our existential arrogance, that which we have embraced over hundreds, if not thousands of years of modern evolution as Homo sapiens sapiens. We must become aware of our being inextricably linked to nature and natural processes, that everything which constitutes us as seemingly independent beings is part of the great recycling, both our physical self and our spiritual self. Everything that constitutes us is a manifestation of the Source, which is the singularity of all knowledge, wisdom, joy, love, and peace. That our purpose is to evolve as beings within this cycle, contributing to the evolution of mankind as a whole and to the cosmos at large. That this is accomplished by means of our aligning body, emotions, and mind, our lower self, with that of our higher self, which shares in essence with the Source, both residing fully in the spirit realm. That to do so requires our continuous efforts toward personal evolution, including holding only the highest of thoughts in our thinking body, the purest of emotions in our feeling body, and the sincerest of actions in our acting body. To be intentional in thought, compassionate in word, and mindful in deed. To follow the founders of the ancient peace traditions in their striving to be simple, innocent, sincere, compassionate. To see the divine in the mundane, and the beauty in all things. The arrogance of self-deification, of thinking ourselves above nature, above the source of our health and vitality, beyond the great cycle and somehow separate from it, acts as a blinder, a facade which stunts our personal evolution. It is naive and serves only as a denial of our place in the natural order. It separates us from our Creator, the Source, the singularity which contains all knowledge, all power, all love, all wisdom, and all joy. This ancient wisdom, founded in prehistory, transcending place and time, obscured by mysticism and misunderstanding, gifted from one enlightened to the next over thousands of years, has now found its way into your hands. I hope it also finds its way into your body, emotions, and mind, and that you encounter your higher self, your spirit, in a very personal and powerful way along the path of peace. That your higher self communes with the Source, the One Law, the All-Father, the Creator, God, and that you discover that you are one with all creation. This is my hope for you, and for me, and for all those who strive to perfect their own personal evolution.